Democrats aren't the only ones throwing money at the problem. Denver is going to give homeless people $1,000 a month. But there's a catch. In order to get the money, you have to be a homeless woman, or you have to be a transgender, or a homeless guy who doesn't identify as a man or a woman. You know, like they identify as a wolf or something. So straight homeless men don't get any cash. Not even gay homeless men. I bet you're going to see a lot of homeless guys coming out of the closet as bi. You see what they're doing here? They're discriminating against homeless men, picking winners and losers from a group of people who've already lost. This isn't right. And we already know this isn't going to end well. Never does. Here's what's going to happen. Democrats will throw billions of your dollars at homelessness. Grifters from nonprofits are going to steal it. Democrats will feel compassionate, and the homeless crisis won't improve. The same thing is happening with the environment. We're pouring billions of dollars into green stuff. A very select few will get rich. Democrats will feel virtuous, but the temperature is not going to change. Are you catching on yet? Glenn Beaton's a syndicated columnist and a blogger for the AspenBeat.com, and he's also the author of the upcoming book, High Altitude, The Liberal Takeover of Aspen. So what exactly is happening out there on the streets of that beautiful state of Colorado?
Well, it's a little bit ugly, Jesse. I split my time between Aspen and Denver, but what I see in Denver, you don't think of Denver as Seattle or San Francisco or New York in terms of homelessness, but it's pretty bad. And so what they've decided to do in Denver, this will blow your mind. They've decided that they're going to pay people to be homeless. They're going to give people $1,000 per month for years, so $12,000 a year to be homeless. But as you mentioned, there is a catch to it. You have to either be a woman or a transgender or a gender non-conforming person, whatever that means. So I expect to come out of the woodwork a whole bunch of cross-dressers, right? Lining up for their $1,000 a month.
Right.
You know, when you pay people to be homeless, just as when you pay people to do anything, you're going to get more people to do it. This is going to have exactly the wrong effect, exactly the opposite effect. It strikes me as a terribly destructive thing, not just to the taxpayers and to the city, but to the homeless people themselves. You want not to enable their life, you want to cure them of their life.
I almost feel bad that we broadcast the fact that they're handing out $1,000 a month to homeless people who are non-binary, non-conforming, lesbian women. Well, I don't even know what it all means. You're going to see a pilgrimage of people from all over the country now going to Denver, throwing a dress on or just being a woman and putting their hand out. And you know what they're doing with the cash? They're going to go buy drugs, aren't they?
Well, yeah, there's shelters in Denver. Denver is not without homeless shelters. There's plenty of shelters in Denver, but they typically have empty beds every night. These people sleep on the sidewalks and poop in the gutter because that's where they want to be. Now, if they're not going to the free homeless shelters, what makes anyone think that they're going to take the free $1,000 and go rent an apartment? That doesn't add up.
Why don't we just take all the money we're giving the homeless and build institutions to help them get off drugs and give them therapy so they're not mentally ill? Doesn't that seem like a better use of money?
Well, I'm totally behind you on that. Listen, I don't think people ought to starve or freeze to death in America. We're too rich a society to afford that. And if somebody's starving to death or freezing to death in the gutter, I'll help them right there. But giving them money isn't going to help them. They're going to misuse the money. You know, in the old days, we didn't have this problem, and we weren't nearly as rich as we are now in the old days. In the old days, we had mental institutions, we had prisons, we had family support groups, we had churches. Well, the left doesn't want any part of any of that because it threatens their governmental control.
Yeah,
they want all this to be owned by government.
You're right. It was more civilized when we banished them to asylums and put them in straitjackets and gave them the help and the drugs that they needed in an institution. This is not civilized to let people sling poop.
It's not like Denver hasn't done anything. Denver's thrown approximately $500 million at this project recently, at these programs. And somebody put pen to paper and did the math on this. They added up all the homeless people in Denver, which is a little bit hard to get a fix on, but they estimated. Anyway, and they divided that by the number of dollars that have been spent by Denver over the years. And it turns out that right now, Denver is spending between $40,000 and $100,000 per homeless person per year. Now, to put that in perspective, Denver spends only $20,000 per pupil per year for its schools.
So we're spending more on homeless and our students, and $40,000, $80,000, that's college tuition. It's all ass backwards. I got to run.
You could give them $100.
Yeah, you could give them $100, and it's all going $100,000. It's all going to the drug dealer.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
You could give them $1 million and they wouldn't buy a house with it. They'd still be sleeping on the sidewalks because that's where they want to be.
Right.
You know, it's a mistake.
I got to run though because we're running out of time. And Scott.